Decided to eat the Caesar salad. It's delicious.
The Caesar salad it tastes so amazing. I can't get over the fact of how good the Caesar dressing feels in my taste buds.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could eat Caesar salad all the time. I love Caesar salad.
Hey Mo, do you think they ate Caesar salad back in the Roman times?
Well, that's a dumb question. Of course they did. I mean, who else do you think Julius Caesar is named after?
Huh. I always thought it was the other way around. I thought Caesar salad was named after Julius Caesar because of the many lands he conquered, just as the Caesar salad conquers my taste buds.
According to my Google Glass, Caesar salad was actually named after the chef Cardini, who developed the salad in Tijuana.
That's really interesting. But it's not as interesting as the William Shakespeare play, Julius Caesar.
Do you like Caesar salad?
William Shakespeare was born to John Shakespeare and Mary Arden in Stratford-upon-Avon on April 23, 1564. Shakespeare was the oldest of 5 children and was likely educated at Stratford's grammar school. Here he was exposed to classic Latin plays which helped develop his love for writing.
In 1582, Shakespeare married a woman named Anne Hathaway, with whom he raised 2 daughters. Shakespeare died on the same day he was born, April 23rd, in 1616.
William Shakespeare wrote Julius Caesar in 1599. He wrote this play because of his own worries of his country's queen becoming a tyrant just as many thought Julius Caesar was.
Queen Elizabeth I had been becoming older, yet more powerful. She was extremely popular with the citizens, but it was a well-known fact that she had not chosen an heir to her throne. This made Shakespeare worrisome because this likely meant that she was becoming more of a tyrant. We will be performing Scene 2 of Act 3. This scene involves Antony, who will be played by Mo, and Brutus, who will be played by Eli, speaking to the people of Rome following Caesar's assassination. There are only 2 key characters in this selection, Brutus and Antony. The remainder of the lines in the selection come from a crowd of plebeians.
Brutus is a high-ranking nobleman who participates in a plot to kill Caesar. Brutus does this due to his love of Rome and his fear that Julius was becoming a tyrant. Essentially, Brutus kills Caesar for his love of Rome as he personally is friends with Julius and is saddened at his death. Despite him murdering Caesar, Brutus is a kind-hearted man, which makes him easy to be manipulated.
Antony is another character in this selection of the novel. Antony is a friend of Caesar and is against Brutus and the other conspirators. In contrast with Brutus, Antony is spontaneous, impulsive, pleasure-seeking, and unscrupulous. He ends up being Brutus's ultimate enemy throughout the play.
Prior to the transpiration of this scene, Julius Caesar had just returned from his defeat of Pompey. Pompey and Caesar had been engaged in a civil war over the control of Rome, and due to this, it caused many conspirators great distress when the common people celebrated Caesar's victory, as he had killed thousands of his countrymen to achieve this victory.
Furthermore, Cassius, one of Caesar's generals, who disliked his ascent to power, was able to convince Brutus to lead a conspiracy to kill Caesar and gain control of the country.
This plan came into fruition on the steps of the Senate where Cassius, Brutus, and other conspirators stabbed Caesar 23 times. This death was ironic and a test to Caesar's arrogance due to the fact that both his wife and a man on the street of Rome warned him of this fate. Yet, he still decided to go to the Senate.
I will hear Brutus speak. I will hear Cassius, the noble...
Friends, Romans, countrymen and lovers, hear me for my cause. And be silent that you may hear, believe me, for my honor, and have respect for mine honor. That you may believe, censor me in your wisdom, and awake your senses. That you may better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus loved Caesar was no less than his.
If then that friend demand, why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die all the slaves than that Caesar were dead to all free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him, and he was fortunate, I rejoice it. And he was valiant, I honor that. But, as he was ambitious, I slew him. There was tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his value, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that would be a bondman, if any speak, for him that I have offended?
None, Brutus, none.
Then none I have offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol. His glory not accentuated where he is worthy, nor his offenses and force he has suffered death. Here comes his body, mourned by Mark Antony, who though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which he shall not. With this I depart, that as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome,
Live,
I have
Brutus, live!
hey, I have the same dagger for myself, when it shall please my country to need death.
Live, Brutus, live!
My countrymen, good countrymen, let me depart alone, and for my sake stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse, and grace his speech, tending to Caesar's glories, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. I do entreat you, not to man depart, save I alone, till Antony have speak.
Friends, Romans,
Say ho, let us Mark Antony.
countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do live after them. The good is often interred with their bones, so let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here under leave of Brutus and the rest. For Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambitious should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that at the Lupercal. I thrice presented him the kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambitious? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, he is an honorable man. But here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin. There was Caesar. And I must pause till it come back to me.
This selection is important as it shows the true moldability of the plebeians. Brutus is at first able to win over and gain support of the plebeians. However, as Antony goes on to speak, he is then able to gain a level of support for himself through his passive-aggressive comments about Brutus and his ability to inspire the crowd. A major theme that is prevalent throughout this scene as well as the play as a whole is whether it is okay to kill a queen or king due to the risk of them becoming a tyrant. Another theme is that of ambition. With the exception of Brutus, most of the conspirators are against Caesar for their own selfish needs. Furthermore, friendship is a third theme in the play, as Caesar was at first friends with most of the conspirators, yet they conspired against him without his knowing and sadly killed the man.
After the speech, the crowd erupts and riot begins by burning down the conspirators' houses. Cassius and Brutus flee the riot, scared for their lives.
After Julius's death, three people take over rule of Rome: Antony, Octavius, Julius Caesar's nephew, and Lepidus. They begin to form an army to attack Brutus and Cassius, while also writing a list of names of all the conspirators who need to be killed.
Brutus and Cassius also begin to make their own separate armies. When they meet again, Brutus hypocritically criticizes Cassius for taking bribes to pay his men, and is angry that Cassius did not send Brutus money to pay his own men.
They then settle their differences, and Brutus insists over Cassius's questioning to take their armies to fight Antony and Octavius at Philippi. During the night, Julius Caesar's ghost appears to Brutus, saying he will see him at Philippi.
At Philippi, Antony's army defeats Cassius's army, but Brutus's army defeats Octavius's army. Cassius sends his friend to investigate and thinks he witnesses his friend being taken, even though it's just friendly troops. Distraught by the thought of sending his friend to be taken, Cassius commits suicide.
The armies fight again, and this time Brutus loses. Before he can be captured, he kills himself by running a sword held by one of his men into his stomach. When Antony finds Brutus's body, he says that Brutus was the most noble Roman of all. Many scholars believe that the play Julius Caesar is not as powerful or as accurate compared to his other plays, which are also based on Roman history, such as Coriolanus and Antony and Cleopatra.
The play makes up for this through its phenomenal character development and resounding passages that are often unforgettable.
Also, while many experts revere the strong character development that makes you feel as if you truly know the characters and their outlooks on life, the lack of development and detail that is given to Julius Caesar is slightly disheartening. However, this is the fault of the plot, as opposed to Shakespeare's character development.
Moreover, the way that Shakespeare expresses the mannerisms and moldability of the common people, as well as the jealousies and antagonism of varying factions further, shows Shakespeare's phenomenal character development and the true thought put into each group of characters and how they might act given the environment of the play.
William Hazlitt, a critic from the 1800s, acclaims Shakespeare's theme in Julius Caesar: "The humanity and sincerity which dispose men to resist injustice and tyranny render them unfit to cope with the cunning and power of those who are opposed to them." This quote from William is evident through Brutus's downfall due to his kind heart and good nature.
Ultimately, different people either regard the play as a simple thing that is nowhere near the top of Shakespeare's plays, but others can recognize its complexities and character renditions. These people appreciate the play and place it near the top of the list of Shakespeare's works.
Personally, I believe that this is a great play with a great deal of deep and meaningful quotes.
Yes, I completely agree. This play is much more serious and contains fewer euphemisms than other plays we've read in school, such as Romeo and Juliet.
Furthermore, this play has much less gore and violence than the other plays we have read in class have, such as Macbeth.
Yeah, this play is essentially a medium between Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth, which I really like because I get a little bit of gore and a little bit of banter all in one.
Yeah, so like overall this play, it's serious while also being profound, while also having that banter and violence that I really like and that really keeps me going. Overall, I think this is my favorite play that I've read so far.